My sister-in-law stole my wedding dress, wore it before I did, and now everyone is blaming me for the fallout. It sounds insane, right? But that's my life. Let me start from the beginning because, trust me, you're going to want all the details to understand just how twisted this story gets. My fiancé David and I have been together for 6 years. We met in college, fell in love, and have been each other's rocks through thick and thin. When he proposed last year, it felt like everything was finally falling into place. I was excited to start planning our wedding, the day I'd been dreaming about since I was a little girl. My dream dress, the venue, everything was supposed to be perfect. Enter my sister-in-law, Sarah. Sarah is David's younger sister, and let's just say she has always been difficult. From the moment I met her, she has made it clear that she doesn't think I'm good enough for her brother. She's the kind of person who thrives on drama and always needs to be the center of attention. Family dinners, holidays, even birthdays. Somehow, Sarah always managed to make everything about her. When David and I announced our engagement, Sarah's reaction was lukewarm at best. She plastered on a fake smile and muttered a half-hearted "congratulations" before shifting the conversation to herself. I could tell she was seething inside, but I tried to brush it off. After all, this was my time and I wasn't going to let her spoil it. Planning the wedding was a whirlwind. I was busy with work, meeting vendors, and trying to balance my time between David and my own family. I wanted a small, intimate ceremony with just close friends and family, something elegant but simple. David was on board, and we started looking for venues that matched our vision. Then came the dress. I had always dreamed of wearing a beautiful lace gown with intricate details and a long, flowing train. I spent weeks searching for the perfect dress, dragging my best friend Emma to countless bridal boutiques until I found the one. It was everything I had ever dreamed of, classic, elegant, and timeless. I knew the moment I put it on that it was the dress I wanted to marry David in. I kept the dress a secret, only showing it to my mom and Emma. I didn't want anyone else to see it until the big day, not even David. It was my special surprise, something just for me. I hid it in the back of my closet, covered with a garment bag, and felt a surge of excitement every time I caught a glimpse of it. Fast forward to 3 weeks before the wedding. David and I had just finished finalizing the seating chart when he suggested we have a small family dinner to celebrate. I thought it was a great idea. A chance for both our families to come together before the chaos of the wedding. We invited our parents, his sister Sarah, and a few other close relatives. The dinner was going smoothly until Sarah showed up. She walked in wearing a short white cocktail dress, clearly designed to grab attention. I knew her style well, and this dress screamed, "Look at me." She made a beeline for David and started talking about some new project at work, completely ignoring me. I could feel my blood boiling, but I tried to keep my cool. I wasn't going to let her ruin this night. Halfway through the dinner, Sarah suddenly stood up, raising her glass. "I just want to say how happy I am for David and his beautiful fiancée," she announced, her voice dripping with insincerity. "And I can't wait for the wedding. I'm sure it will be a day to remember." I smiled tightly, trying to ignore the slight dig in her tone. "Thank you, Sarah," I said, keeping my voice even. "We're really excited." Sarah's eyes gleamed with something I couldn't quite place. "Speaking of weddings," she continued, "I'd love to see your dress. You know, just to make sure it's not too over the top. We wouldn't want anything too flashy, now, would we?" I felt a chill run down my spine. "I think I'll keep it a surprise," I replied, trying to sound casual. "You'll see it on the day, just like everyone else." Sarah pouted, but I could tell she was plotting something. I brushed it off, trying to enjoy the rest of the evening, but a nagging feeling lingered in the back of my mind. 2 days later, I came home from work to find my apartment door slightly ajar. My heart started racing. I pushed the door open, and my worst fear was confirmed. My closet door was wide open, and the garment bag containing my wedding dress was gone. I felt like I was going to be sick. Who would do this? How could someone be so cruel? I called David immediately, my voice shaking with panic. He rushed home, and together we searched the entire apartment, but there was no sign of the dress. I was on the verge of tears when David's phone rang. It was his mother. "What's wrong, Mom?" David asked, putting the phone on speaker. His mother's voice came through, filled with concern. "David, I just got a call from Sarah," she said. "She's in a bit of trouble. She went out last night and got into an argument at a bar. It got out of hand and the police were called. She's at the station now and she's wearing a wedding dress. Your fiancé's wedding dress." I felt my knees buckle. David had to catch me before I collapsed to the floor. My head was spinning and I couldn't process what I was hearing. Sarah had stolen my dress, gone out partying, and now she was in a police station wearing it? We drove to the police station, my mind racing the entire time. I couldn't believe Sarah would do something so malicious. When we arrived, there she was, sitting on a bench in the lobby wearing my wedding dress. The once beautiful gown was now stained with dirt and spilled drinks, the lace torn in places. Sarah looked up as we approached, a smirk on her face. "Oops," she said, feigning innocence. "I just wanted to try it on. I didn't mean for this to happen." "Try it on?" I shouted, my voice echoing through the station. "You stole my dress. How could you do this to me?" Sarah shrugged, completely unrepentant. "It's just a dress. I didn't think it was a big deal. Besides, you always act so perfect, like you're better than everyone else. I just wanted to show you that you're not." I felt tears stinging my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. "You've ruined everything, Sarah. I trusted you, and you've destroyed my wedding dress. How could you be so selfish?" David stepped in, trying to calm me down, but I was too upset. I turned to leave, not wanting to be anywhere near Sarah, but she called after me. "Don't worry, Big Brother will take care of it," she said mockingly. "He always does." We left the station, David apologizing profusely for his sister's behavior. I was too angry to speak, my mind reeling from what had happened. When we got home, David tried to comfort me, but I pulled away. "I can't believe she did this," I said, my voice trembling. "And I can't believe you let her get away with it." David looked hurt. "What do you mean?" "I didn't know she would do something like this. I would never let her ruin our wedding." "Then why haven't you done anything to stop her?" I snapped. "She's been undermining me from the beginning, and you've done nothing. It's like you're afraid to stand up to her." David's face fell. I didn't want to cause a rift in the family. I thought if I ignored it, she would stop." "Well, she didn't stop," I said bitterly, "and now my dress is ruined and my wedding is ruined. I don't even know if I want to go through with this anymore." David's eyes widened in panic. "Don't say that. We can fix this. We can get another dress. Please don't let Sarah ruin what we have." I sighed, feeling exhausted and defeated. "I don't know, David. I just need some time to think." The next few days were a blur. I felt like I was in a daze, going through the motions without really being present. David's family tried to reach out, but I ignored their calls. I didn't want to hear their excuses or apologies. I just wanted to be left alone. Then, one afternoon, I got a call from Emma. "You'll never guess what I just heard," she said, her voice filled with urgency. "Sarah is telling everyone that you're overreacting about the dress, that you're being a bridezilla. She's saying you had a meltdown and that's why you're ignoring the family." My blood boiled. Of course Sarah would try to turn this around on me. She was a master manipulator, always twisting the truth to make herself look like the victim. I decided I wasn't going to let her control the narrative. It was time to take matters into my own hands. I called David and told him to come over. When he arrived, I laid out my plan. I'm going to confront Sarah, publicly. I want everyone to know what she did, and I want her to admit it. David looked hesitant. "Are you sure that's a good idea? You know how she is. She'll just twist everything." "I don't care," I said firmly. "I'm done being the victim. I'm done letting her walk all over me. If you want to support me, then be there. But if you're not willing to stand up to her, then maybe we need to rethink this whole wedding." David nodded, realizing the seriousness of my words. "Okay, let's do it." We organized a family gathering, inviting everyone, both sides of the family, close friends, even some of Sarah's co-workers. The tension in the room was palpable as everyone waited to see what was going to happen. Sarah strutted in, looking smug as if she was the star of the show. I stood up, taking a deep breath. "Everyone, I have something to say," I began. 3 days ago, Sarah broke into my apartment and stole my wedding dress. She wore it out to a bar, got it ruined, and when I confronted her, she showed no remorse. She's been spreading lies about me, trying to make it seem like I'm the one at fault, but I'm done staying silent. Gasps filled the room. Sarah's eyes widened, and for the first time she looked nervous. "That's not true!" she shrieked. "You're making this up. You're just trying to turn everyone against me." I held up my phone, showing a video I had taken at the police station. It clearly showed Sarah sitting in the lobby, wearing my wedding dress, smirking as she taunted me. "I think this speaks for itself," I said, playing the video for everyone to see. The room fell silent. Sarah's face turned red, and she looked like she was about to explode. "You bitch!" she screamed, lunging at me. David stepped in, holding her back as she flailed and cursed. "You've gone too far this time, Sarah," David said, his voice filled with disappointment. "You need help. You can't keep treating people like this and expect them to just take it." Sarah struggled against him, but he held firm. "I've always defended you," David continued. "I've always tried to keep the peace. But you crossed a line and I can't ignore it anymore. You owe her an apology." Sarah's eyes blazed with fury. "You're choosing her over me? Your own sister? Fine. I don't need any of you. I'm better off without this family." She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The room was silent for a moment before David's mother spoke up. "I'm so sorry," she said, tears in her eyes. "I didn't realize how bad things had gotten. We should have seen this coming." David put his arm around me. "We're going to get through this, together. I'm not going to let Sarah ruin what we have. We'll get a new dress, and we'll have the wedding we always dreamed of." I nodded, feeling a sense of relief for the first time in days. It wasn't going to be easy, but we were going to make it work. Sarah had tried to tear us apart, but instead, she had brought us closer together. The next few weeks were challenging. There were lots of tears, difficult conversations, and moments where I wasn't sure if I could go through with the wedding, but David stood by my side, supporting me every step of the way. We found a new dress, not as perfect as the first one, but beautiful nonetheless. I realized that it wasn't the dress or the decorations that made a wedding special. It was the love and commitment we had for each other. The day of the wedding finally arrived, and despite everything, it was perfect. Surrounded by our closest friends and family, David and I exchanged our vows. There were tears, laughter, and so much love. As we danced our first dance as husband and wife, I knew we had made it through the storm. Sarah didn't show up to the wedding, but honestly, that was for the best. She had caused enough drama, and I was ready to leave all of that behind. I was done letting her dictate my happiness. This was my day, our day, and I wasn't going to let her or anyone else take that away from us. Looking back, I realized that Sarah's actions had actually made me stronger. She had pushed me to stand up for myself, to set boundaries, and to fight for what I deserved. I wasn't the same person I had been when David proposed. I was stronger, more confident, and ready to take on whatever life threw my way. As for Sarah, the fallout from her actions was more severe than she anticipated. Her behavior at the family gathering was a tipping point. David's parents insisted she seek professional help, and when she refused, they cut off financial support. Her colleagues at work heard about what happened, and she faced repercussions there too. Word spread, and soon she found herself increasingly isolated, with fewer and fewer people willing to put up with her antics. It took a few months, but eventually Sarah reached out. She sent David a long email, filled with apologies and admissions of her own insecurities and issues. She admitted to being jealous, feeling overshadowed by our happiness, and acting out of spite. She asked for a chance to make things right, to repair the relationships she had damaged. David and I talked long and hard about what to do. Forgiveness is complicated, and trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. We agreed to meet with her, to hear her out, but made it clear that it would take more than words to mend the wounds she had caused. The three of us met at a quiet cafe. Sarah looked different, not just in appearance but in demeanor. Gone was the arrogance, replaced by a humility I hadn't seen before. She spoke softly, tears in her eyes, as she apologized sincerely for everything she had done. She admitted that she had started therapy and was working on her issues. "I know I've hurt you both," she said, her voice breaking, "and I don't expect you to forgive me right away. But I want to be a better person, a better sister. I want to make amends." David reached out and took her hand. "We appreciate you saying that, Sarah. It's going to take time, but we're willing to try." I nodded, feeling a mix of emotions. Part of me was still angry, still hurt, but another part of me felt relief. Maybe this was a step toward healing, not just for Sarah, but for all of us. We left the cafe with cautious hope, knowing that the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but at least we were taking the first steps together. Life moved forward, and though things would never be the same as they once were, we found a new kind of normal. David and I focused on building our life together, our love growing stronger each day. Sarah continued her therapy, slowly rebuilding her relationship with us and her family. Our journey wasn't perfect, but it was ours, filled with ups and downs, challenges and triumphs. Through it all, I learned the importance of standing up for myself, of setting boundaries, and of the power of forgiveness. Because in the end, it's not just about the love we share with others, but the love we have for ourselves. And that, more than anything, is what kept us all going.